guys, it's Shelly here. Welcome to my channel and thank you for joining me today. On today's video, I'm going to share with you my favorite pages of 2024 so far. So from January till June. So it's the first 6 months, okay? And yeah, these are my favorite pages that I feel are maybe the best ones I've done, or I enjoyed coloring them, or I've experimented a bit, I've used different mediums. So it's not just my favorite in terms of the outcome, but it could be the process or my experimenting, but I'll discuss that with you as I go along. But yes, these are definitely my favorite. It's definitely not the favorite that may have the most likes on Instagram or anything like that. In fact, some of them are not. But yeah, I'm going to share with you my personal favorites. All right, so let's just get started. I haven't actually done that many pages this year. I noticed when I was trying to look at the pages to choose my favorites, I didn't have that many to pick from. So that's quite sad. But anyways, I did manage to pick out 10. So yeah, let's just get to it. And we'll see what you guys think. Hopefully you guys like the pages I pick. All right, hope you guys enjoy the video. So let's get started. My first book, this is not in any particular order, so it's not like my favorite to my worst or my worst to my favorite, okay? It's just literally very random as I picked it out of my bookshelf. So R.J. Hampson's A Frog's Tale. And this is actually quite a simple page that I chose, but I've really loved coloring this page. So why did I enjoy this page so much? I used alcohol markers, the Ohuhu Honolulu series, and I've done how I color video on how I'm using my alcohol markers. Now, I'm not very well versed in using alcohol markers yet, but I shared how I use it, and I use it a lot on this page, as you can see. And I really enjoyed playing with the markers and using pencil over the top, seeing how I can bring back highlights, how I do my shadowing. I was still able to manage to do, I'm assuming I did a little bit of, yes, I did. I used gray. So I managed to do a white effect, even with the alcohol markers. So I was just enjoying myself with the markers and pencil over the top and a little bit of metallic paints on the frogs. So I just literally had fun on this page and I really enjoyed it. And I realized I know a lot of people have already said this many times in their videos or even in comments to my videos about Amazon paper, that using alcohol markers really helps tackle the Amazon paper, the Amazon quality paper. Now this is Amazon UK and I'm not so keen on Amazon UK paper. I would rather it's not Amazon paper, but I don't mind the Amazon Japan paper more than I like the Amazon UK, but especially with water mediums. But I surprised myself with how much I enjoyed coloring this page with the markers and the pencils, even though everyone kept repeating and saying, use markers. It's so much better using markers on the Amazon paper, and it makes tackling this paper easier. But I've learned that lesson now after I colored this page and I really enjoyed it. So I didn't get this, can you see the ripple effect of just using pencils on this paper? And I think it happens with hard pencils, I was told by someone in a comment. But I didn't get that with this particular page, and so I'm glad. So I enjoyed the process, I enjoyed playing on this page, I enjoyed the end result, and I enjoyed the fact that I could work on Amazon paper. So first page, very simple, but I really like the end result and the process and the surprises that came along with it. So that's R.J. Hampson's A Frog's Tale. My next favorite is a very new book, new artist to us for coloring books, and that's Lolita Iyer, and the book is called Enchanted Creatures. This book was sent to me by the publishers, Page Street Publishing, but I was a bit skeptical about this book because it is Zendoodle and I don't color Zendoodle, and that's why this page is one of my favorites, because I really surprised myself with how much, again, I enjoyed coloring this page. I don't, like I said, don't usually gravitate towards Zendoodles. I don't have many books. If anything, maybe 2-3 books that might be Zendoodly, like a Marjorie Sarnat, this one. And maybe you could say Rita Behrman's older books had a little bit of more of a Zendoodle effect to it. But other than that, I'm not very good at tackling lots of pattern and design on a page. So I was a bit skeptical, but I had a blast on this page and I love the end result. I used soft pastels this time for basing everything, and then I went over with my Art Brut Dura pencils dry, and I enjoyed doing my whale especially, and I love the way the whale turned out, and it's standing out from everything else. I used a gradient of my soft pastels first, and then I used pencils just to deepen up and pick out certain Zendoodle patterns to just make it look a bit more fancy rather than just cover up all that work that the artist had put in there. So you can tackle Zendoodle in many different ways. Just color over it if you don't want to do all the little details, or you can, you know, pick out a few details or pick out every single little element if you want. But I really enjoyed basing and just picking out a few elements. But yeah, I really enjoyed using my soft pastels for basing, and then the effect, I love how the whale looks especially, and it does stand out. I did not think it needed a background. I love all the glitter gel pen work I have put on there, and I just had a blast again, and I surprised myself with how much I enjoyed this particular Zendoodle book. I don't think I would grab it from this book. I'm not going to get lots of Zendoodle books, no, but for this particular artist style, I actually really enjoyed it. So yeah, loved this book, loved coloring this page, and I loved the end result. It was nice experimenting again. So that was Lolita Ayers' Enchanted Creatures. All right, a Rita Berman. Now, you guys know I like my Rita Berman books, but I'm not getting round to them that much. And this book especially is very close to my heart. I've said it so many times. You guys are probably getting very bored of hearing that from me. And because it's so close to my heart, I have put so much pressure on myself that basically I feel like every page that I color in this book has to be beautiful, and I know that's not possible, but that pressure is there for me. I've put the pressure myself, no one else. But I did this page and I absolutely loved it, but I don't think it was that popular on Instagram, but that's okay. I really like how it turned out. Now, I do have a full color along of this page on the channel. I use soft pastels again. I really do like using soft pastels in Rita Berman's book for a nice soft look, especially for backgrounds, and then making everything else sort of stand out a bit more bold with pencil work. So yeah, soft pastels for the background. Love the gradient I did for that, and I really like my clouds on this page. I think they give a real impact with the colors I've chosen, with the white outline, and it just works really well with the yellow plane breaking through them. So I really like that aspect of this page especially. And yeah, I use soft pastels. I use my Art Brut Dura pencils, dry and probably wet as well in certain areas. I used a lot of gel pen, glitter, metallic. I like how my white clothing turned out there. I like how I've done my sand dunes. It's a lot of yellow though, but it works. It's a desert. So I think deserts are very yellow, isn't it? But I like that I went for something different for the sky to break all of that up and bring some brightness to my page. So I really like how that turned out. So that is Rita Berman's Africa book. Full color along available for that particular page. Then I have another Rita Berman book, the Europe book, and I think this was quite, well, not I think, I know this was very early on in the year. This was in January, a winter page, and I had a blast with this page again. Now, this is very different effect to what I just showed you, which was quite soft and subtle with the soft pastels. Here, I used the Derwent Inktense pencils, and it's the first time I've used it in a Rita Berman book, and so much. Basically, pretty much everything is done with the Inktense pencils other than the bunny, the white bunny, and possibly the snow, I want to say, although that looks quite bright to what I usually use. So I may have used it for the snow. I can't really remember, but I have a feeling I didn't use it for the snow and for these little, what are they? Those animals there, all right? But yeah, I used the Inktense for the background and for everything else. And I love the boldness of it, the difference in the two pages I just showed you. So I really, really enjoyed using the Inktense in Rita Berman's paper. It was so much fun. I love the bold effect, the intensity of the colors. And I love how cool the colors out for the sky and all, the water, the snow, and then the two little areas of warm oranges that are coming through. I really like that effect as well. So yeah, and I used a lot of glitter gel pen, as you guys can hopefully see, in like all the leaves and things like that, with a bit of shading, not just a plain flat color. But I really, really enjoyed coloring that page, and I love the end result. And it's so different to the effect I got from the Africa one. So that's Rita Berman's Europa book. So I've used quite a few mediums, I've realized, this particular year. So far, soft pastels and alcohol markers, and then I've used Derwent Ink 10s. Yes, I use my Albrecht Dürer a lot though still. I love those pencils. All right, the next one I have is Paula Brun's Animaux des Bois. Again, quite a simple page, but I love this book. I love the coloring in it because of the quality of the book, and I love the art style, and I love this page, even though it's so simple. Yeah, so some of you may look at this and say, why is that a favorite? But like I said, I didn't even have that many pages to choose from, but I really enjoyed this page because the only thing I had sort of pictured when I chose to do this page is the background. I just thought I wanted to do a yellowish background, and I did an all pencil sort of blurry background, and I love how that turned out with the little hints of green and pink. I really enjoyed doing the background. I don't usually do pencil backgrounds that often. And then, yeah, I just liked coloring everything else, doing the Thule Art paint pen work. And I just love how my pencils, it's the Albrecht Dürer pencils I used, how my pencils worked. I feel like I might have done the background with ink tints, I feel like it. And then I went over with my Albrecht Dürers just to bring in the green and pink areas. But the yellow part of it I did with the ink tints. And then, yeah, the rest of the work is with my Albrecht Dürers, and I always enjoy colouring in these Marabout quality books. I just like the colour palette of this page. So soft and subtle. The pinks are so subtle, but then you get a little pop of the dark purples, berries. I just really like how the colour palette turned out, the background turned out. Really enjoyed it, the process and the end result. Very simple page, but nice. And I don't feel the need to cover the entire page these days for the background. I like that it's just that little bit that's got color on it. I don't feel the need of having to cover the entire page. Really enjoyed that. So that is Paula Brun's Animaux des Bois. How many have we done? Oh, we're halfway there already. Okay, then the next one I have is a mythographic. I didn't have that many mythographics to choose from, surprisingly, but this is Joseph Kattenbang's Mythographic Wild Winter. I think it's because I'm quite slow, especially when I do my mythographics as well, because they're so detailed. But I chose this page. I think I did 2 pages in this book, the first 6 months of this year, but I really enjoyed doing this one. This one is a color along on the channel. I think I did the background with, I want to say Neocolor 2s, I think. And then I did alcohol marker work for the cactus and the flowers and the hedgehogs, yeah. And then pencil over the top. And again, really, really enjoyed it. I loved playing with all those mediums, so the pencils, the Neocolor 2s, the alcohol markers. I loved doing the shading with the alcohol marker. So I didn't just do a base. I actually put in shading for from the word go with the alcohol markers, and then I did a little bit more with the pencils. I love how the balls have turned out. I wanted them to look like transparent glass balls with a little bit of gold in it, and I love how that turned out. I love the color palette. I love the pink background and the way the purple works with the pink background. So I just really, really enjoyed coloring it, and I just like the color palette and how it all turned out, really. And I pictured those balls as glass balls from the word go, and I'm glad it sort of worked. Yeah, my glass work is not perfect, but I don't think it looks bad. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I love how my hedgehogs turned out too. So all in all, fun page to color, and love the end result. And yeah, there is a full color along available on the channel when the winter season comes, if you want to follow it along. That's Joseph Kattenbang's Mythographic Wild Winter. All right, Then the next one I have is Melpomene Chatzipanegitu, Circle of Life, one of my favorite books. I love Melpomene's work. I love her art style, and I love how my style of coloring looks with her line art. And this is the page I did. Again, a full color along on the channel. I'm glad that some of my favorites are actually color alongs on the channel, because I don't manage to record every single page I color. I'm not fast enough for that. So I'm so glad that some of them have actually turned out to be color alongs. But yeah, I think every time I looked at this page, I was a bit intimidated by it. I didn't know how I was going to approach it, but I absolutely love how it turned out. Now, as I've mentioned with Melpomene's work, because there's a lot of details, I do tend to do a lot of Tombow dual brush pen basing, and then I use my pencils over the top. I do quite a bit of glitter gel pen work to fill in like little tiny details, so that I don't have to do pencil work for them, and it gives a nice shine to the page. And I don't always cover up black lines. Like usually you'll see that in a lot of my pages, sometimes nowadays I'm tending to cover up black lines and put in highlights with paint pens. In Melpomene's work, I don't always feel the need to do that, even though the line art is quite dark, as you can see here. But I feel that for some reason in her illustrations, I don't need to cover up those dark black lines. It just seems to work for some reason. So yeah, really enjoyed this. I used Tombow dual brush pens. I used my Art Duro pencils. I used white paint pen, and I used a lot of glitter gel pens and maybe metallic gel pens. But yeah, I love how it turned out. I love that I made these three because it's the cycle of a butterfly. So I was not too sure how I was going to do is it the cocoon? But I decided to try and make it look transparent with part of the butterfly in there. And I think it works. And I think it looks like the cycle. And I love all the pops of purple and yellow and blue. I love basically the color palette again on this page as well. Just works really good for this page. And all this shine on glitter and shine on this page. Really, really enjoyed it. And even though it's so detailed, I don't think it took me that long, because once you map out your colors with the Tombow dual brush pens in Melpomene's work, then it's nice and relaxed coloring, and that's what I like to do with her pages. So I loved coloring this page, and this was Circle of Life Melpomene Chatzipanegitu. Color along available for that one. All right. It seems like so long ago since I colored some of these pages, but it's just, some of them are not that long ago, but yeah, it just feels like ages since I've done it. Sorry, this is Maria Trollis, Moon Valley. Now, I haven't been coloring much of her work, but I did manage to do this one, and I really, really enjoyed it. I love, again, the color palette. It's such a limited color palette, which is not normal for me. It seems like I was really enjoying the green and purple combination now that I look at my pages. But I think I was consciously trying to make an effort of not using pink for my flowers this like when spring came in, because I tend to use pink a lot for my flowers. So I think I was making a conscious effort of that, and it seems like I ended up using quite a bit of purple instead. But I love how I think these are tulips turned out. If I'm not mistaken, I've done a how I color video on my white tulips on this particular page, because I love how it turned out. So I've got a few ways that I color white flowers, and I was really enjoying doing this effect, and so I did share it on a how I color video, just to give you another idea of how to tackle some white flowers. So I love how the flowers turned out. I love how the greens turned out, because I tried to make a conscious effort of using different greens on this page. And I love my background. I got inspiration for my background from Color by Betty Hung on Instagram. She does a lot of blurry sort of backgrounds, but I think she does it with pencil work. I don't have the patience for that. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like I might have used soft pastels, but I've discussed this in another video, so I can't remember now. I might have used soft pastels and then a bit of pencil. But I can't remember. I don't think I would have personally done this all with pencil. and got such a nice effect, such a smooth effect. So yes, I think I used soft pastels for the background, and then maybe in certain areas I've gone over with my pencils to give a bit of color to those areas. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I love the color palette and how my flowers turned out, especially. Lovely page, and a bit of glitter, well, not a bit, a lot of glitter gel pen work. So yeah, simple page. When you look at it, it's a simple page, but I think it just gives a nice effect and result. So that was Maria Trolle's Moon Valley. And I have a Hawaii color on the flowers. Almost done now. All right, so I have Hannah Carlson's jewelry box. Again, I think this was quite an early page, to be honest. Yeah, March. It seems like my later pages haven't made it to my top 10, but I think I have been struggling with my coloring recently, time-wise and things like that. So I've had a lot going on. So maybe that's affected my inspiration and how I feel about my coloring pages and my end results as well. But yeah, this page. I like this page because I experimented with watercolor paints, and I love how it turned out because, yeah, again, I'm still learning. I don't have time to look up tutorials and things like that, so I just played on my own with the watercolor paints for the background, and I love how it turned out. It's nice to just play around sometimes and see what you can come up with, and yeah, with the risk that you might ruin a page, but that's okay. We always have black acrylic paint that could cover it up, but I like how it turned out. So I did watercolor paints for the background with a little bit of gold metallic paint to just give it a bit of interest. And then I used, I think, Pablo's for the greens. The greens do not look like my Albrecht Duras. So the green leaves, I think I used Pablo's, just playing around with the color combinations. But then the deer and the blue and orange work is with my Albrecht Dürer pencils. I can't remember. Yeah, and the flowers as well. Again, I like the color palette as well. Quite a limited palette in a way. And I just loved playing with the background basically. And I like how the fur turned out. Not too bad. I shy away from fur, especially when it's such a large area of fur. And I remember doing majority of the page and then letting it sit for ages because I had to tackle the fur. To finish off the page, but yeah, I don't mind how the fur turned out. It's not the best, but it's okay. So yeah, love the color palette, love that I experimented with watercolor paints and it turned out okay, and love the end result. I enjoyed coloring it. So that is Hannah Carlson's jewelry box. I did my coloring plans video recently and I'm so sad. In a way, I'm actually really excited. I was so excited with the pics that came up and the anticipation to see what was next. If you guys haven't watched that video, watch it. But yeah, because I've done my coloring plans video a little bit differently. But I noticed after recording it that I didn't get any Hannah Carlson. So hopefully next season, come winter, I get lots of Hannah Carlsons because I do love coloring her work. All right, final book. And again, this was a very early page, but I loved coloring this page. It is a color along on the channel. I think I recorded this page on the channel, and then the rest of it I did, this page I did on my own, but I shared everything, all the color combinations and how I was tackling the page on this side. I used soft pastels again for the sky. I think a little bit of the clouds, definitely for the water to try and create the I tried to create an effect of this is underwater. I like how it turned out. I used my Albrecht Dürer pencils for the rest of it, and I used a bit of paint pens and Tombow dual brush pens and any glitter gel pen, if anything, just on the fish. Yeah, just on the fish. But I loved the end result. Like, I don't get around to Kirby pages that often, but I always enjoy coloring his pages, and I've not done that much in this book, but I love that I finished a double page spread and I love the end result. But I really enjoyed coloring this page and trying to create all the effects on this page and the end result. And I love my pink clouds. I like doing my clouds a different color, if you guys have noticed. So in the Africa book, I did all the purpley blue color. This one I've done pink. I just like making them stand out a little bit, just break up the color of the sky, especially when it's just a simple sky. But yeah, I really enjoy this, and I use soft pastels a lot on this page as well for basing. So basically, like I said, the sky, the rocks, the underwater, and then I did my pencil work. Yeah, really enjoyed it. And like I said, that's available as a color along on the channel. But I think I used different soft pastels here, I just realized. Artix had sent me some soft pastels to review, and I used those ones on this page. Usually I only had my Faber-Castell soft pastels, so on this page I used the Artix, and it worked well as well. So that's it, guys. Not a very long video for me, is it? But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and seeing my favorite pages for the first 6 months of the year. Let me know what your favorites were from the ones I've shown you. Like I said, not all of them were favorites or had the most likes on Instagram, but these are my favorites. And I really enjoy, I always enjoy my coloring, to be honest. I never force myself to color anything, and yeah, that just makes sure that what I'm coloring, I'm enjoying. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I'll be back with you guys again soon. Until then, take care. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.